Is your church ready for the future and what AI is bringing our way? Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, one of the leading artificial intelligence companies in the world, said this recently. He said, the future will be coming at us in a way that's impossible to ignore, and the long-term changes to our society and our economy will be huge. Now, let's talk about that today. Today we're going to dive into something really big. It's bigger than the internet. It's bigger than the smartphone, and possibly even bigger than the printing press. And honestly, AI isn't coming. It's already here. And while most of our daily lives in the next year are going to look a lot like they did last year, I mean, people are still going to fall in love. They're still going to be raising families and arguing on the internet, as Sam says. But underneath it all, AI is seeping into everything, and that includes the church, whether we like it or not. It's coming. Matter of fact, it's already here. So what does that mean for us as ministry leaders? Let's take a look at that. What does the church look like in a world where AI becomes maybe the biggest amplifier of human willpower ever? Well, we don't think about computer chips and electronic components. I mean, we just don't think about that, but they're everywhere. And AI is becoming the same way. From personalized education in healthcare, looking at predictive healthcare, AI will embed itself in every aspect of our lives. Matter of fact, it's already starting to do that. But here's the key. People will come to expect everything to be smart. Every interaction, every service, every resource. People are going to expect everything is just going to be smart. And if churches ignore this shift, I think we really risk being seen as increasingly irrelevant. And we already have that problem, right? We're going to be seen as increasingly irrelevant, not because the gospel's outdated, because it's not, but because our ways of engaging people may be. So here's really what I think we should ask. For example, what does discipleship look like when AI-driven learning can personalize Bible studies at scale? I mean, seriously, what does pastoral care, how does pastoral care evolve when AI can analyze different patterns of depression and stress and burnout before a person even asks for help? I mean, what happens when church communication is expected to be as seamless and intuitive as talking to an AI assistant? Now, the gospel doesn't change, but the way people experience the church and the gospel and the truth very well may. And we have to also realize that not just in the church, but work, the nature of work is going to change. And because of that, the nature of ministry is going to change as well. Sam Altman says, we're going to find new ways to be useful to each other, but they may not look like the jobs of today. AI is going to reshape work, and that includes ministry work. Now, you say, Todd, I don't believe that. Well, you can choose to believe it or not, but it will. I mean, it just will. As culture changes, church and ministry will change as well. Let's take a look at a few of those. Administrative tasks. AI can handle that. How about sermon research? Could be automated. And we can make a whole video on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But AI is incredibly, let's say you take all of the commentaries that you have if you're getting ready to preach a sermon. All of your commentaries are on all these shelves in your library. If all of those commentaries were in a closed set of AI and you could just go in and say, give me illustrations or verses for this, and it only pulls from a written work, that's a game changer. It's just like an alphabetized, it's just like a commentary, right? Everything is organized by book. Well, now everything could be organized by AI, and AI can totally automate sermon research. It's already starting to do it, but it's going to do it hugely in the future, right? What about pastoral support? AI chatbots already assisting with some of that. Now, you can argue whether this is good or bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's already starting to change. And the way churches staff themselves, I'm keen on this because I'm one of the co-founders at a church staffing firm. The way churches staff themselves, the way that churches train leaders, the way that we allocate resources over time. It's not going to happen in the next 2 months. It's not going to happen in the next 6 months, maybe even in the next year. But over time, the way that we relocate resources and assets will change. So the question for churches is, what do people uniquely bring to the table that AI never can? And I think there's a really good answer for that. It's presence. It's real, physical, incarnational presence. Sacrament, the sacred, embodied experience of worship and communion and baptism. It's community. It's real relationships built in, kind of the messy, beautiful complexity of human life. But let me tell you, if churches don't emphasize these distinctly human, deeply spiritual elements, people might replace the church with AI-powered spirituality, and that's a serious risk. Altman also says that agency will change. Agency, willfulness, determination will be extremely valuable in an AI-driven world. Why? Because when everything becomes easier, when knowledge is instant and problems are kind of auto-solved, people will need more guidance than ever on what actually matters. And this is where the church shines. In a world of limitless AI-generated options, the church must help people choose what is good and right and true. And in a time when AI makes work easier, but meaning harder, the church must guide people toward purpose and toward truth. When technology gives people power but no moral compass, the church must be a source of wisdom and discernment. And AI might be the biggest amplifier of human willingness ever, but without the right foundation, that willingness can lead to chaos. And the church is called to ground people in something much bigger than ourselves. Okay, one last thing here, and that's the tension between control and freedom. One of the biggest questions ahead, I think, for culture and for us in ministry is how much control do we give people over AI? And church leaders are going to have to navigate this in your own ministry. Will you embrace AI-driven decision-making tools for church administration, for example? Will you leverage AI for sermon outlines or for some automated outreach? Or will you resist and kind of maintain a more human-driven approach? It's not about blindly accepting or rejecting artificial intelligence. It really isn't. It's about thoughtful, intentional engagement. And some churches will lean heavily into AI-driven innovation. Others will embrace kind of this countercultural, more human-centric model. The key is knowing your values and making the right choices that will help you to align with them. So AI will be everywhere. But people still, they're going to crave what they've always craved, which is hope and love. They're going to crave truth and purpose, and the church will always have something that AI can never replicate. It's the power of the gospel, it's the presence of Jesus, and it's the depth of that human connection that we talked about. So as church leaders, here's the challenge. Lean into what makes the church uniquely human. Be proactive in how you engage AI, not reactive. And remember, people will always need shepherds, even in a world of artificial intelligence. That does not mean that things are going to be the same in your ministry and in your church in 5 years. AI will change things. You need to be proactive rather than reactive. So what do you think? Leave something in the comments. Leave a comment. Tell me, how do you think churches should prepare for this future? Is AI horrible? Is AI bringing some things to the table that are really going to enhance ministry? Drop a comment below and let's start the conversation there. And I'll see you next time. Until then, lead well, love well, don't be afraid of the future because God's already there.